on the News Channel 5 network. This is Open Line.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Line. Glad you are with us tonight. It is Wednesday, May 13th, and we are talking tonight about the proposed property tax increase here in Metro. Mayor John Cooper has released his budget. He did so a few weeks ago. The budget calls for a 32% property tax increase on a house that's worth about $300,000. That would be about $750. He says this is critically needed, and it's the result of the coronavirus and basically us shutting down the economy. And so we're going to talk about that from people that maybe come at it from different points of view. And we, of course, encourage you to call in with your thoughts and comments. Happy to have with us tonight. We have Brad Rayson. He is the president of the SEIU. They represent many Metro employees. They also represent support staff in Metro schools. So, Brad, thank you for being with us on Zoom. And we also have with us, yes, Steve Glover, Councilman at Large. He has also been on many times, and he is also joining us via Zoom. Thank you, Councilman, for being with us.
Thank you, sir. And
let me start, okay, Brad Rayson with SEIU. Let me start. Where do you come down? The mayor came out with this budget. It has a 32% property tax increase in there. What are your thoughts?
Well, we feel it's really long overdue that we address the property tax rate here in Nashville. The 2017 property reassessment and then Mayor Berry's decision to take our property tax to the lowest point in Metro history has proved to be a real problem for us. And it's really coming home to roost this year. But really in the last 2 years, we've seen the budget that's been adopted being based on one-time sources of money, whether it's property sales a couple years ago to looking at selling our parking rights and the DES facility here in town to make ends meet. So we've just found that the impact on our schools, on the services that are available to our citizens have just been shortchanged. And
I want to ask, and I'll go to Councilman Glover in a moment, but this budget, as I understand it, it does not include a pay raise for Metro employees, something they've been promised, something that's been pushed back a couple of times. So you're getting, this budget is kind of a crisis mode budget, as the mayor put it. How do you feel about the fact a 32% property tax increase, but still no pay raise for employees?
Well, it's obviously a real bitter pill to swallow. Metro employees time and time again have been asked to sacrifice and step up and skip pay raises, skip step increases in good times and bad, and here we are having to face it again. Unfortunately, it really is the culmination of some other decisions that have been made over the past few years that have put us in this position.
And Councilman Glover, your thoughts. You'll be voting on a budget. What do you think about the mayor's proposed budget, 32% property tax increase?
Well, I think you already know my answer to that, no. But let me say this. I enjoy the fact that Brad is advocating on behalf of the people he's representing, as am I advocating on behalf of the people I'm representing. To talk about Mayor Berry and, taking us down to the lowest property tax we've ever seen, that's not completely true, because when we reassess the property, what people are not really looking at, they only want to talk about how deeply we dropped the property that we had to. That's the way state law works. But we still had a 23% increase in our revenue in the city over that same period of time. And so what we did was squander it. I mean, Ben, you and I have talked about this multiple times. I have warned us that if we kept doing what we were doing, we were going to land where we are now. Now, let me say this. I never could have imagined, nor would I ever have dreamed, nor would I ever want us to be where we are, because, this has been devastating for so many people. We had a tornado, we had COVID, and then, what was it, Sunday before last, We had a massive windstorm that came through and has wreaked havoc on this city. We have people unemployed. We have a lot of bad situations right now. And I am certainly sympathetic and understanding of where we are inside of the government, but I'm also sympathetic and extremely understanding of where the private business sector is in Nashville. And so therefore, I will not and I cannot support a 32% property tax increase.
So if there's no 32% property tax increase, are you saying that we should increase it some? Are you saying no increase? And then it comes down to, if there is no increase, and the mayor said if it's not 32%, do we lay people off? Are you talking about laying off Metro employees? Or how do you make up for the money that would be raised by what the mayor is proposing here?
All right, so I believe, and let me just say this, I'm trying to put the final dots on the I's and the T's on the substitute budget I'm going to propose. It does have a property tax increase. I didn't want to do that. I don't think we should have done that. I believe we could have handled it differently. However, we're where we are now, and that no longer is really an option. So I know the base that I represent will be extremely upset with me, and that's okay. Be upset with me. But I think right now, we don't need to be looking at 32%. We need to drop that down as much as possible, preserve the jobs, understand everybody's got to feel the pain. You know, private industry did not ask to be put out of business. Government did that to them and did it to us. Let me just say that as a small business owner also, did it to us. And so therefore, it has to be equitable across the board. As we go forward and as we look at how do we proceed and how do we try to come out on the right side of this, positive side of this, it will take some give and take. The one thing that I'm looking forward to is hopefully having a very robust conversation in the council, debating what the percentage should be, how it should land. I will be, once I get an all clear on my budget, I'll be laying that out for folks where they can see it. I regrettably will be proposing a increase, but nowhere near 32%.
Okay, and I think that is interesting. You've certainly been somebody that's been an outspoken opponent to all property tax increases, but you say this situation puts us in a situation where we have to do one. But what are you saying then? What you will propose will mean no layoffs of Metro employees, but some number less than 32%.
What I'm saying is department heads will have a lot of power in the budget that I'm going to be proposing, and then ultimately the council hopefully will debate and determine what's the right way to do it. I don't want to lay people off, but we have to feel the pain across Metro. We also have to understand how the numbers work, and it's complex. And so from that standpoint, I have gone through and I've put together what I think is a very equitable position for all departments across Metro, with the exception of the police, OEM, fire, and the sheriff's department. You know, they have run across some certain areas that have been beyond challenging. Not saying there won't be cutbacks in that arena, but outside of that, everything is equitable. It's all done equitable. And oh, by the way, according to the private industry, it's about half or less than half of what the private industry sector has felt here in our city.
So, Brad, when you hear that, here's somebody who's going to come, a councilman at large, with a proposal that is less than 32%, that gives managers a lot of discretion. He says, what do you think about what you're hearing there? Well,
I am a little surprised that is viewed as a real approach. I think every year, year after year, the last few years in particular, the mayor has asked department heads to make targeted savings, which is trying to find ways to reduce their allocated budget. And that has been done year after year. And at some point, there's nothing left that you can do. Same thing with the school budget. We've seen the schools asked to make cuts year after year. We've seen their requested budget denied and come in below what they asked to really provide the education that our students need. And when we've looked back, we've seen that as our population has grown over the last 10 years, the number of employees in really some key departments haven't kept up with that growth. We've seen 80,000 new residents move to our city in the last 10 years. That's like a 13% increase in population. Then we look at our 911 call takers. Those are the people we call when we have a life or death situation that we have to deal with. And we've only seen the number of call takers in that department go up by 8. That's far less than the number they need to keep up with the growth in the population that we have. And they have a number of vacancies already because of pay issues that we've been trying to deal with that are now up for grabs. So
let me ask you this: do you think? I mean, again, the mayor has said this is a crisis budget. It's designed so that there will not be layoffs, but it's also, there's no increase. There are not a lot of great gains here. And maybe that's the best you can hope for. Or do you think we should do more? I mean, if we're going to raise taxes, should we go, in your opinion, even higher than 32%? Or do you think there are just limits? What do you think about that?
Well, obviously there's limits, but I think as we go into this budget process, we always think that the hardworking men and women who keep our city going, who educate our children, who maintain our streets, really need to be valued and given all consideration that we can when we're dealing with this budget. Sure, we'd like to see the raises that they're due and owed. We've been passed over. Our members have been passed over, unfortunately, in good times as well as bad. And so we think that there needs to be hard consideration given to how do we compensate the employees properly.
How many budgets, Councilman, do you think will be out there? So you're going to propose a budget. The mayor's proposing a budget. I believe.
Well, the mayor has given us a budget.
Right.
Yes.
And I think Councilman Mendez, finance chair, is going to do one. I saw someone else on Twitter, a council member talking about one. How is this whole process going to go, in your opinion?
Well, what I would hope for is that we work collectively to come up with a solution for the entire city. And the one thing I would say to Brad, go back over the last several years. I mean, first of all, I warned us that if we didn't stop the spending we were doing on frivolous things, we were going to get in trouble. Well, we're here now. But over the last couple of years, I have advocated hard for the employees because I agree we did not treat them correctly. We reneged on our word, which is a big no-no to me. However, right now, we have a simple choice to make. I mean, the council cannot lay people off. We don't have that authority. So the only thing we can do is say, all right, here are the recommended cuts, or here are the cuts that may be recommended per department. But I don't want the employees thinking that I'm anti-employee. I'm certainly not. I'm trying to figure out how we preserve jobs and get through this. We will get to the other side, but we have to do it collectively.
It's a step for you to support any sort of property tax increase. Do you think there'll be? It's not a
step. I'm climbing the mountain, man.
Yeah, it's a change. Do you think there'll be anyone out there that's proposing no property tax increase, or will this debate center around how much of an increase in this crazy time that we're in?
I think right now the most important thing is that we work collaboratively and that we work as a team. You know, there's no doubt what side of the fence I sit on politically. There's no doubt what others sit on politically. But right now, the sides of the fence don't matter. What matters the most right now is that we work collectively in order to get our city through this crisis, and it certainly is like none I've ever seen. And Ben, I've been through a lot of things, but nothing like this before. However, I draw upon the experience of the things I have been through, and I hope that if we will work collectively, if we will join forces to come out with a real solution that's going to be right for all taxpayers. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's going to be happy, myself included. We won't be happy, but it will be what we have to do in order to preserve the city. And we're going to have to make hard choices, but that's why we get elected, to make hard choices. And I believe that the people who voted for us are expecting us to do those things, not one side so far or to the other side so far. So yeah, for me to talk about this, oh yeah, I mean, it gives me heartburn to do it, because I wish we would have listened 5 years ago when I started telling us stop, 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 but we didn't. So this is where we are. This is what we have to deal with. And it's our job to be responsible to the people who elected us. And it's our job in the legislative branch to be the people's voice. Not everybody's going to come out a winner here. I want us to be collectively the winners.
You both have talked to me and said on many occasions you voiced criticism about the decisions that have gotten us to this point. There's no doubt. You both have done that. Brad, I want to ask you, so how do you think this debate is going to go? How difficult is it going to be? How much will your members be involved? And the final outcome, again, what would be your best outcome as far as this is concerned?
Well, our members are going to be involved on several different levels. You know, they're employees of the city, they're residents of the city, they're parents of children in metro schools. So they have a lot at stake, and they're going to weigh in. We've had a lot of discussions internally about what the best direction is to go. Our members are prepared, have been prepared in the past, to support a property tax increase, because they are the ones that need, our members need good schools. They want safe streets. They want good health care. And those are the kind of things that we as a community really have to support. And they don't happen for nothing. Of course, we want funding that would allow for raises for our employees and our members across the city. So we feel like what the mayor has proposed, as tough as it is something that really, if we want to maintain the kind of city that we really want, there's not a lot of choices. There aren't really cuts that we can see, and or that I think department heads can see that would not be more painful than the alternative of looking at the tax increase.
All right, we're going to take a break. That kind of sets the table for the discussion. We have several calls and several lines open. If you want to call in, there's the number down there at the bottom of the screen, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Give us a call. What are your thoughts? We'll take a break. Be back right after this.